it's Gabrielle, and this video is a sample from Studyclix Boost, our new rapid revision tool. Go to studyclix.ie/boost to find out more.
Hey everyone, in this video I want to take a look at solving quadratic equations, which is one of the most widely used techniques across the Leaving Cert Maths course because quadratic equations appear everywhere. So it's really important that we can solve them quickly and confidently. So let's get straight in. I want us to solve 2x squared plus 5x minus 7 equals 0. And how are we going to do that? Well, first what we're going to do is we're going to do it by factorising. We're going to factorise this quadratic and use the factors to solve. So I'm going to go ahead here using my guide number to factorise this. Now that I have the quadratic factorised, the important thing we do here is we let each factor equal 0 and then we solve from there. So I take the first factor of x minus 1 and let it equal 0, and then I take the other factor 2x plus 7 and let it equal 0. Then I solve each of these mini equations if you wish. So add 1 to both sides, we get x equals 1. We'll subtract 7 from both sides, then we'll divide by 2, and I get x equals minus 7 divided by 2. Here we have our solutions, and a fancy word for our solutions are our roots. And what do the roots do for a quadratic? Well, the roots tell us where the quadratic curve cuts the x-axis. So I know I'll be cutting the x-axis at 1 and at minus 7 over 2. And I'll have a U-shaped graph through that. Let's take a look at another scenario. Now I want to look at solving correct to two decimal places, 4x squared minus 12x minus 9 equals 0. So firstly, to solve quadratics, we need to think about factorising to solve. However, because this question says correct to two decimal places, that indicates to me that the factorising won't work. Another indication of that would be asking you to leave your answer in surd form. That would also tell you that we cannot get a factorisation for the quadratic. Or alternatively, if your quadratic is nasty looking with huge numbers and you just want a quick fix to solve it without factorising, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So again, because the question says correct to two decimal places, we need to think about the quadratic formula, which is on page 20 in our log tables. Here, this formula solves for x and it uses the coefficients a, b and c from the quadratic. And just to note, quadratics are always of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So a is the number in front of the x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is the constant at the end. What we do is we find the numbers a, b and c and we plug them into the quadratic formula as seen on the side. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say what a, b and c are. So a is equal to 4, b is equal to minus 12 and c is equal to minus 9. And I'm going to replicate the formula. So I'm going to say that x equals minus b, so it's minus 12 in brackets, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so it's minus 12 squared in brackets, minus 4, bracket a which is 4, bracket c which is minus 9, all over or divided by 2a which is 2 by 4. Then what I do is I type this into my calculator. However, we have a plus or minus symbol here to deal with, and what this means is we do the calculation once with a minus sign, then we do the calculation again with a plus sign, so plus or minus. I'm going to go ahead and type it in with a minus here and work it out. I get 3 minus 3 root 2 all divided by 2 on the calculator. However, the question did say correct to two decimal places, so I press my change button and get minus 0.62 rounded to two decimal places. Then I'll go back and type it in with a plus in the formula or in the equation, so I get that x equals 3 plus 3 root 2 all divided by 2, and when I go ahead and round that I get a value of 3.62, and there we have it. We have our two roots, minus 0.62 and 3.62 are the 2 points at which this quadratic cuts the x-axis. Just to recap, we should always try to factorise first to solve our quadratic equations. If that can't be done easily, or if the question indicates the answer should be in decimal or surd form, we use the quadratic or the minus b formula.